party channel. This is again Science Vlog and Science World of I am a singer, eternal voice, YouTube content creator, and social media influencer. Oh my gosh. Going back to the topic. Question number 3, mga palangga. Okay, wait. I have a timer here because I do very lengthy vlog. And also myself, I don't like. It's very tiring. Tiresome. Or tasky. My gosh. Diba? Okay. Derive the chemical equilibrium constant. Uy, nakakaloka. Okay. Bukusa ta sa number 4, guys. Kasi yun ra. Calculate the number of electrons of tin with atomic number of 50. Sa'yo na siya. Okay. Electrons formula is, you remember that one? Electron. Who discovered electrons? Mga palangga. Who discovered electrons? I'll give you 1,000 pesos. Charot! Okay. Electrons was discovered by J.J. Thomson. Okay. And then, through that, he determined the mass of an electron will be equal to 9.109 times 10 raised to the power negative 31 kilogram and possess a negatively charged negative 1. Something like that. Or negative charge. Very, very light compared to protons and neutrons. And it is located, okay, and positioned in the shell, outermost shell. You get the point? If you try to imagine the atomic, if we draw the atom, a big atom, and there's a nucleus there, electrons will be on the outermost shell, rotating every time. Something like that. Just like an orbit, okay, the planets, the 9 planets in the outer space. Something like that. We have an orbit, right? Orbit, for example, Venus has its own orbit. The Earth has its own orbit. So they will follow each orbit like that. So electrons also is something like that. Okay? You get the point. So, wala siyang electrons. Okay? Ganon. So, electrons formula is equal to the atomic number minus the charge. Di ba very easy? Okay, electrons is equal to the atomic number minus the charge. The charge will be based in here in the periodic table, or refer the common charges. Starting with a minimum charge, because the elements at a minimum charge will be stable compared to the higher charges. Okay, we go to the minimum first before going to the higher. That's the procedure and role of chemistry. Okay, do not proceed to the higher charges. For example, if I have iron meaning Fe, okay, iron, or we have ferrous and ferric. Okay, go first to ferrous rather than go to ferric. But it will depend if you are undergoing the process of rusting, R-U-S-T-I-N-G, or corrosion. The brownish color when the metals are being contacted with moisture after rainfall or after heavy rains. Then the presence of the water will speed up the corrosion process or the rusting process, and then there's a rust in the outer layer of the pipe. Then it can eat the outer layer of your pipe, and then it will cause leakages of your pipelines. Something like that. If water will be passing there. It depends also to the type of fluid and liquid that will pass to the pipelines. It's not all the time water. It depends on the industries that you are working with. Okay? But normally, water is always be there because we need to use potable water in our processes. Okay? Potable water, processed water, utility water, or fire water during fire emergency situation. Something like that. Normally, you have to assess the corrosion. Okay? So we need to buy corrosion resistance chemicals for the water treatment chemicals so that it will not cause corrosion normally. But other companies are not doing that to save money. Okay, they go with the other techniques how to prevent that. Okay, because there's a lot. For example, daily inspection, preventive maintenance, somewhere along the way of the pipeline, something like that. okay, recording properly what's happening on the outer layer of the pipe, so visual inspection. So there's a lot of technique how to solve. And then if they want also a long-term solution, that's why they buy water treatment chemicals intended to remove the corrosion in that particular process, something like that, okay? Para hindi siya mapiktuhan, buta na siya water treatment chemicals. Okay, after you have the results of your water analysis. For example, if high chlorides, high suspended solids, ganun siya, di ba, total dissolved solids, chlorides, mga ganun. Okay, the water parameter, okay, you have to discover that one. You get the point, okay, because you have to analyze that one by one. Okay, the magnesium carbonate, the calcium carbonate, okay, like that. The salts ba? Okay, you have to discover that one, ha? Mo siya na, total suspended solids, mga total dissolved solids. Okay, TDS. Okay, sa water treatment analysis results. Okay, a lot you will be getting there. And then through that results, okay, then you will refer that to the water treatment chemical supplier. What is the best water treatment chemicals appropriate for that particular lines that have problems to that issue. Okay, ganon. Okay, so this is electrons is equal to atomic number minus the charge. Atomic number, guys, technically is also the number of protons. Okay, atomic number is the number of protons. Okay. And then if the question in the future, all the time I always encounter that before. So what determine the characteristic and properties of an element? The question is like that. What determine the characteristic and property of an element? As simple as that. A, proton, B, electron, C, neutron, D, charge, E, none of the above. Ganun lang siya na question sa'yo, di ba? Your answer will be proton or atomic number. Because it is the atomic number or the proton will determine the characteristic properties of each element in the periodic table according to the scientist Dmitry Mendeleev. Okay? Because Dmitry Mendeleev is a scientist who discovered the perfect arrangement of different elements in the periodic table according to their properties, behavior, and characteristic. Something like that. How they behave, if you will introduce that into the electricity, into the heat, into the outside environmental factors, whatever, in the air or into another substance, and that's it. That's the, the contribution of Dmitry Mendeleev. Okay, going back here. But J.J. Thomson is the one who discovered electrons, of course, right? Now, atomic number is equal to protons. The protons minus the charge. Then you have to refer to the charge in the periodic table, of course, by referring to the valence electrons and the group. Okay. Oh, 1A, 2A, ganon. See, if we have the tin. So tin, the first thing to do is go to the atomic number. The atomic number, mga palangga, is arranged in increasing order from left to right and from top to bottom. But take note, from top to bottom is in each column. But for the from left to right is all. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Okay, ganon. Increasing siya from left to right. Ganon siya. Okay, yan. Tanawa na gano'n, atomic number. Oh, increase siya. Going na, increase po siya. Okay, like that. So, atomic number is the number of protons that determines the properties of an element. Okay, ganon. So, atomic number of tin. Oh, the tin is here, right? 50 mga palangga. Okay. Tin, we need to say Sn. Oh, 50. So it's here mga palangga. So the atomic number is 50. Oh, atomic number, ganon. 50 minus, what is the charge of Sn? Is in the 4A. So the charge of Sn is positive 4 because that is group A. Group 4A. Okay, so 50 minus 4. Ganon. Diba? 50 minus 4 is equals to 46. Wow. So there are 46 electrons of tin. Okay, or 46 electrons of tin. Okay, like that. With the point? There are 46 electrons of tin. But this is not the valence electrons, but only the maximum electrons of tin. Okay, the totality. Ganun siya, ang answer dito. Okay, sa number 4. Okay, last, let's go back now to the chemical equilibrium. Diba? Hurot na akong discuss ang mga ganun-ganun siya, pachucho. Okay? Higit ang point, mga palangga. Kapunin ako, isa sa pagtutunan. Fairness. Diba? Okay. Guys, I tell you something. When I was in my college days, I love really chemical reaction, okay? But, sorry to say that, I don't love kinetics. Because kinetics is a chemical reaction involved, but it involves rate. I don't like to involve time. Really, I don't want to involve time in a chemical reaction. It makes it complicated. Really. Rate, R-A-T-E. Because we have also rate of chemical reaction. I'm not talking for the rate. Only the chemical reactions. Okay, I love it, the topic about that. Okay, with the point. Since it's also an advantage because if you love it, and most of the problem solvings are involved in chemical reactions really. Okay, most, I think 80% up will be on the chemical reactions. Okay, you get the point. Except for unit process and unit operations. Because more na siya sa mga operations, not only the chemical reaction. But sometimes naagyapon guys, magka-calculate yapon ka. Okay, especially sa flow rates sa feed, flow rates output, ganon, overall material balance. Sometimes you need also to compute the chemical reaction, what's going there. And you need to assess the products. Sometimes only, but if it is water lang siya, alcohol, very easy. Okay? Alcohol, mga lang, alcohol, water, air, refrigerant. You know refrigerant? Oh my gosh. Okay? Nakakaloka. Refrigerant. Diba? So, I will disassemble this one guys, mga palangga. Okay? Manong ko sa oras akong papa. Oy, cake na no. Pinunta mo ha? Tepa sa. Tepa sa mga palangga. Iyon na yung 5. Gusto yung akong papa. Oy, sa una. Kalimot mo ko. Char! Tempa sa hang. Hala? Diba? Tempa sa uyin? O, kani. Diba? Ino nito sa kong papa sa una. Bayalang ko ko sa sa, speaking capability, ang mga yaw, ganun. Okay, public speaking, public speech, like that. But when it comes to, actual, I'm not really that good, especially mechanically. Okay, I really love to teach, to talk, to report, to make a document, to make an article, something like that, or whatever. Okay, but in actual, I am less of that. Mechanical, how to do it, like that, I'm not really that interested. Because if I love it, then I choose mechanical engineer, right? Since I know also I'm weak for that, okay? You get the point? But I remember my scholarship when I graduated in high school, only sharing for information. Okay, when I graduated in high school, okay, we take an examinations, okay, especially we are on do I have to say this? So, we are on the top students before, and we are selected, something like that. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be 10 or something like that. We took an examinations to a very, very good school, funded by an international school, and that school is located in the mountain. Mount CITE. I think that's Cebu Industrial Technology, something like that. Enterprise, if I'm not mistaken, right? We took the examination along with my, my classmates before, and then we passed. At least we are 4 out of 10, and I'm one of those who passed, like that. And that is mechanical technology. The course offered mechanical technology. I do that because since I know we are just living not in that rich, okay, so at least I could go to school if my parents cannot go me into education according to my desire, the bachelor's degree. Okay, that's why I do it. Okay, wa may ikagasto, something like that. Okay, I took the scholarship. Okay, will I pass that there? Oh my God, there's a lot of, training like that. Though I already passed the trainings, but I did not go to the last training. Okay, because, grabe kayo siya guys do. Okay, actual kayo siya. Katong last actual education in which katong magbaid bitaw, magbaid o murag kutsilyo. Bairo mo siya until it will become very, very sharp. Hindi mo ka nagpangamot. Okay, so, di pasar na ako sa written examinations, sa mga interviews, and then there's training, actual training. I don't like really, okay, the training because you have to stay longer in the heat of the sun, and you use your hand, use your hand, and then you move a lot of effort, your movements, meaning heavy type of job. Okay, like that. And I don't want, and I stop. And then they called me, why you did not come back for the last segment of the training. And I decided, I will never continue, sir. Sayang daw yung opportunity. Because that is really an international school. Okay, for mechanical technology job, like that, electronics technology job. And then I found also that the graduates of that school already found a very good job now in the industries. High paid, professionals in our place, something like that, or in our country. Because it is really advanced technology school. And then the amenities are very good. The technology is very good. There's an AutoCAD for your drawing, like that. Something like that. And then very good amenities. Okay. And there's a mountain, going to the mountain, and they have free transportation in going to the mountain. So exclusive schools for boys only. Okay, for boys, exclusive for boys. And I never pushed through. And then I remember also the other three did not continue also. Nobody continued to that. Because both brain and physical, mental and physical kasi siya. Di kayo kukuhan sa physical, guys. Okay? You get the point? More ko on mental ability. I'm not really not on the, the physical aspects. Okay? You get the point. So going back to the chemical equilibrium. Okay, saan mo itong kuhaan? Atong papas ba? Nawala lang yung papas. Nakakaloka. Eraser, mga palangga. Nawala. Okay, nasan po erasers? O ito pala. I-erase guys. Ganon. Yung basa, mga palangga. Ibuhaga yung kuan. Okay? Moto siya first scholarship nga akong napasaran, guys. Okay? Sa high school. Okay? Ganon. Nakakaloka. Pero sa NCE, guys, wala ko ni top number 5. Top number 8 ako sa whole students sa Naga National High School. Because after that, you will, they will rank the highest scores of the NCEE, National Collegiate Entrance Examination, prior to take a course in going to college. So that was before NCEE. And then they changed that to NSAT, right? NSAT. National, ganon siya. And then I was only top number 8. Okay, I'm not really in the top number 5, but it's okay as long as I'm passing that one, right? And then that is the basis also why I took up engineering. Because you'll never take an engineering course if your score will not be above 80%. Okay? So, engineering students must have 80% up of their NCEE or NSAT. So that is the qualification for all engineering students. Okay? In the curriculum. My gosh. Wa man ko magtuon kay ato sa NCEE. Nakaloka. Get the point? Okay, now going back. Charots. Okay. So if we have the chemical reaction, hypothetical lang ta guys ha. So tuloy sa mga hypothetical Okay. Hypothetical meaning it doesn't really have to be in reality. Okay? It's just only an illustration or in order for us to understand how we solve it, okay, like that, by using variables like this that are not reflected to reality. Representation only ba? Okay, that's hypothetical. Okay? Hypothetical lang dito guys ha, para sa yun. Charot! Okay. Okay, ganon. Okay. So in chemistry, we have a lot of chemical reactions. We have, let's say, unimolecular reaction. We have the bimolecular reaction, trimolecular reaction, ternary, or meaning termolecular reaction. Meaning 3 na siya. Okay, but we are not usually using that when we express for something in our subjects. I'm only giving an idea that that is a classification of the different chemical reaction in terms of the units or components involved, not in terms of the way how it is behaving or reacting. Because we have also types of chemical reaction. We have, for example, combination, chemical reaction, decomposition chemical reaction, single replacement or single displacement chemical reaction, double replacement or double displacement reaction, the combustion chemical reaction, the photosynthesis chemical reaction. Actually, we have 6 types. The last will be the photosynthesis type of reaction because this is very, very special. Okay, the students must learn this photosynthesis chemical reaction because without photosynthesis, all of us will die. Okay, we cannot obtain energy by our food, our drinks that we used to intake that in our body for our proper metabolism and proper growth to improve our human health immune system. So that's why photosynthesis will not be taken for granted. Okay? Most of the proteins and carbohydrates, synthesis and reactions coming from the photosynthesis original reaction with the sunlight. Ganon. So we should not take for granted. Though we study a lot of the other types, but photosynthesis should not be taken for granted. Okay, but this is very special in the study of biochemistry, attaching biology and chemistry, because photosynthesis, as I told you earlier, more on the plants, in the in the environment and the sun. So it's more on the environmental aspects, right? And this 1 to 5 is more on the processes in the industries, factories, plants, companies. This 1 to 5. But I love really number 6 because I really want to survive in this earth, right? So photosynthesis is best for us, right? The protein, the carbohydrates, the sugar, the salts, like that inside our body, so that there will be no diseases will come to us in the future. Okay, we will not be taking for granted for that. So it's really, really good to study biochemistry. Okay, not only the the what do you call this one? Pure chemical reactions. I mentioned the 1 to 5. Okay, now going back to that, we have also types of chemical reaction that basing on their constituents, meaning how many units you put in your reactants, how many units or constituents you put in your product. Mo na siya katong mga unimolecular reaction, okay, bimolecular reaction, trinary molecular reaction, or tri lang siya, kay cut off man siya. So trimolecular reaction niya. Ternary na siya dapat, gihimo na siya termolecular reaction, cut off ang word, attach. You get the point? Like that. Just like netizens. Netizens are people in the internet. That's why netizens. Okay, that's coming from the word citizens plus the internet. Okay, they cut off the word enter, they retain the word net. Okay, they have the word citizen, they cut off the city, and they add the zen in the net. So netizens. So these are the people in the internet or in the social media or in the World Wide Web. But if the audience are just pure citizens, that means general. Could it be in the internet world or in the real world? But we are referring to the internet world, social media, World Wide Web. That's why netizens. Net. N-E-T. Okay? They cut off from internet. Okay? Connections of words. This connection of words are fabricated words, not really found originally in the Webster Dictionary. Okay? It's only made by man for the purpose of easy understanding that would be applicable, not using too much words, something like that. So if you try to, correct me if I'm wrong, try to go to the Webster Dictionary if the word netizens are there. Okay, because these are the words are fabricated only. Okay, meaning they attach that so that we will understand. Okay, you get the point. For example, www, that is World Wide Web. Okay? .com. Ganon. I-cut off ra niya ang usa ka term. You get the point? Ano siya? Okay, we will go to the most easy, or shall we say we go to the more products? Okay, pareho naman gyapon siya guys. Okay? Like that. So, for example, if I have a product A will yield. Nasa taning yield. Yung Sotero yield, Jude. Okay. Diba? Okay, yield. Mag-English at ka din. Vocabulary. Yield. Okay. Result. Okay. Produce. Okay, like that. Okay. Give off. Okay, like this. What is generate? What is? So, there are 5 terms na siya. So, these are all relating to have products or output. Okay, in your process or chemical reaction. Okay, so it could be changed the way how you express that in your discussion, how it's being phrased in the books or in the reference in the internet. It depends on the situation, the terms you are using there. Something like that. But for me, I love yield. For example, A plus A will yield to B. Ganon. Di ba? Okay. Now, we have here the rate of the reaction A, the rate of the reaction A, ganon. Ganon. And we have also the rate of the reaction of B. Okay. The rate of reaction A, this is the reverse. Reverse. You know the reverse or backward? Okay, backward. So this is the rate of your reverse reaction. We will represent that as an RR. Okay. Now, your rate in the reaction B is your forward reaction. Okay? Forward. So the rate of your forward reaction, it will become capital RF, meaning rate of the forward reaction. Ganon. The subscript F and R is the direction of your chemical reaction, meaning the direction and the magnitude, meaning to say vector quantity. Okay, like this in physics. So concentration is a vector quantity, not a scalar quantity. Okay, there's always a direction and orientation to consider. Going to the left, going to the right, ganun mo na siya mga vector quantity ha. Okay, like that. Nanata. Okay. Rate of forward reaction RF, ganon. So when you get the rate of forward reaction, you need to establish the equilibrium K always. Equilibrium constant of the forward reaction. So it's gonna be small letter K. Okay, ganon. Okay, and then of course going to the forward, then that is KA. Okay, like that. So when you go to the direction, okay, the one you will multiply to the constant will be the reverse, the reactant. You get the point? So that you will not be lost. For example, rate of forward reaction is equal to K times A, not the B. Because you are going forward man siya. Okay? Like that. And then, rate of reverse, ganon. Rate of reverse reaction is equal to K times B na siya. Okay? Kaya reverse naman siya. Okay, now. So, in order to determine an identification or a difference, because I'm using the same K, for the purpose of identification, I need to make the other negative because that's the reverse. The reverse for something is the opposite, right? If I have the positive, I have the negative. If I have war, I have peace. If I have black, I have white. If I have long, I have short. Something like that. You get the point? Opposites. Okay? You get the point? So, if this is a positive K, I have a negative K. Okay? Now, in equilibrium constant, you don't have to put negative in the beside because that is not correct. You will only put negative to the subscript or the exponent. You get the point? Okay. You get the point, huh? There's no negative sign for the equilibrium constant. It's always in the exponent or in the subscript. Now here, it's very obvious in the subscript. So I have to put negative. K negative or K negative 1 is just the same. Negative or not putting 1 is just the same. Okay? K negative 1 and K negative is just the same. As long as the negative sign, you will put in the subscript. Okay, ganon. Now, since you have the same properties, what is the rule of math in algebra? If having the same properties, they are talking of the rate of the reaction first. They are talking of the concentration, both. Okay, they're talking also with the equilibrium constant. So they are talking the same properties and the same thing. So we can apply ratio and proportion. You get the point? Now, since our topic is chemical equilibrium, what do you mean by equilibrium? So this is equality. Okay, meaning there is a static equilibrium between the rate of the forward reaction and the rate of the backward reaction, meaning it will now be equal because this is the time when the concentrations of both A and B will no longer change. At this moment, now we establish the equilibrium state. That's why we are chemical equilibrium. So I will now say rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of the reverse reaction. And what is the value of rate of forward reaction? Copy from here. K times A. And what is your rate of reverse reaction? K negative 1 times B. Now this is your equation number 1. Okay. So ganito itong topic. Chemical equilibrium, constant derivation. Okay. Now we have equation number 1. Okay. So we have a lot of quantities left, right? So we need to use the ratio and proportion. You get the point? Okay, ratio and proportion. Now, how can we do this? Because we have the same thing. Okay? Now, if you get the equilibrium constant, of course, you will need to divide that with equilibrium constant also. That's the first thing. So, K times the concentration of A divided by K negative 1. Okay, like that. Take note, this is a story here. Now, since you are trying to get the equilibrium constant ratio, K over K negative 1, I don't need the A. So again, by algebra math, you have to over the to A so that A will be cancelled in your equation because you are after only to the equilibrium constant ratio. Okay, so I have to put A here. Okay, makansala na ako siya. Mo ginagawa ng algebra, mo nang i-cancel so that you can come up with a simplified term or variable. Okay? Before going further. Okay na. So equal to, mag-ratio na po ka sa K, okay, here. Okay, K negative 1, B. Okay, ganon. Now, since you have now the equilibrium constant on the other side ratio, you don't need also this K negative 1 here in the right side. So I must divide this with K negative 1. Cancel na po na negative 1. Now, what is my denominator here? What's left? The concentration of A. Because we need to know both the concentration of A and the concentration of B in your chemical reaction with the time being that your activation energy is very, very low, then that's the time when your chemical reaction proceed. Okay? Because every reaction, it will have a minimum or lowest activation energy to proceed the chemical reaction. Okay? So how can you do that? By having kinetic energy. This kinetic energy, the molecules and the particles will be collided and bombarded with each other. Then, the most closest factor to affect the chemical reaction is to adjust your temperature. Okay? Then how can you do that? You apply heat in your chemical reaction. Because most of the chemical reactions, it will never have a vigorous, violent chemical change or chemical reactions without involving the presence of the temperature or the heat most of the times. Because most of the times chemical reactions are exothermic reaction, right? Releasing of heat rather than absorbing of heat. Most, I'm not telling all, okay? Like that. So K negative 1 over K negative 1, I have to put A here, right? Ganon. So cancel. What will be left here is K over K minus 1 is equal to B over A, concentration of A over A. Now, since the ratio of K over K minus 1 is just simply the chemical equilibrium constant, KEQ. Take note, if you watch your books in chemistry right now, there's the word KEQ, meaning equilibrium constant of that particular chemical reaction that is being considered. Here, our KEQ is just equals to K over K minus 1. Then therefore is equal to the concentration of B over the concentration of A. So that's why we have an equation like this in our books in the topic of chemical equilibrium, because it's coming from this concept. You get the point? And this concentration of B is the product, A is the reactants. Even though you change the chemical reactions to unimolecular, ternary, okay, like that, bimolecular, or you will have the double displacement, single replacement, decomposition. It's the same story. You will just put your concentration of the products over the concentration of A. As long as you have the correct representation of your chemical reactions, the balanced chemical equation based on the equal stoichiometric amounts relationship as per the total number of moles of your reactant and your product will be equal according to the law of conservation of mass. Okay, like that. So this is the basic foundation. Okay, like that. Now you will understand that muna na siya. Then I will change the chemical reactions into reality na, not hypothetical. Say for example, if I have a chemical reaction, and we will base that here in our derived chemical equilibrium constant. Okay, say for example, lang siya ha, if I have gasoline. Gasoline is a hydrocarbon composed of carbon and hydrogen. And gasoline is basing on the octane number. I think there are 8 carbon atoms of gasoline that runs your car, vehicle, heavy equipment, something like that. Okay, octane. So I'll say octane. Ganon. Octane, mga palangga. Okay, meaning 8. Okay, that's what we have. Octagon. A polygon composed of 8 sides. Not necessarily equal. The sides are not necessarily equal as long as the sides composed of 8 sides. But since we are referring to hydrocarbons, so a gasoline composed of 8 carbon atoms in your carbon and hydrogen chain reaction. Okay, like that. Now, since this is octane, I need to introduce this because I need to use the chemical reaction of this and I need to introduce the basic concept for hydrocarbon, right? This is hydrocarbon chemistry or petroleum chemistry already. I-touch lang ta because we need to get the chemical reaction. Di ako magpili ang combustion chemical reaction. This is usually coming from hydrocarbons, right? And the rapid oxidation of oxygen. Okay? Ganda na siya, chupa-chuchu. Okay na, octane. Ako napili, guys, what I swearty because I choose the complex hydrocarbon. Complex yung kaya siya, guys. Okay, but sige lang. When ako gi-memorize ang complete chemical reaction of the combustion of gasoline in the internal combustion engine of your car. Because you know, the number of moles that will be produced there of your carbon dioxide and water are too huge. Huge meaning a very big number, something like that. And it's not easy to balance the chemical reaction of the combustion in your internal combustion engine reaction in your car, inside the hood. Okay, before it runs, the combustion process will take place first. Okay, from chemical energy, ganon. From chemical energy, and then we have also electrical energy there. And then the last will be mechanical energy. That's why your car moves. Why I need electrical energy? Because there's a lot of connections there in the hood. Okay? Because if that combustion engine is not connected with the wires, then how can also it operates? That's why I tell chemical energy, electrical energy, and chemical energy. But actually, electrical energy is only an accessory to the chemical energy. Okay? So we need to say chemical energy going directly to Mechanical energy is the process in running your car. Chemical energy meaning to say a chemical is being there, meaning that the battery of your car composed of the element, for example, zinc, copper, like that. There's a chemical there, and then it will be converted later on, and then it will go to mechanical energy. It will move your engine, something like that. I don't have to go on the details of the mechanical part. I have to show the chemical reactions. Okay? Something like that. Okay, because it's not magic to move your car. It's really science that move your car. Okay? And it's not opinion. Opinion ni mo ngano nidagan ang car. It's not like that. It's really a science that move your car, and that is chemistry. Okay, that is combustion process from chemical energy to mechanical energy. There's a motion. Covered na talaga siya after chemical energy has been converted to another energy. Okay, I will use the gasoline here, but I have to transfer here the chemical equilibrium basic formula KAQ. So KAQ mga palangga is the concentration of B over the concentration of A. Ganon. Okay, copy dito na lawak. Okay? Ang hirap kumita ng pera. Okay? Like that. Okay. Ako pa siya gipili ang gasoline na puting kuan na. Sige lang. Okay? So, octane. Now, A and E family. Hala, A and E family na po sa Sotero. Okay, A and E family meaning alkane family. Alkane. Magiging sa tag-organic chemistry. A very small organic chemistry. Okay? So, alkane. Ganon. Alkane. Alkene. Okay, and alkyne. Charot. Okay. A and E single bond. E and E double bond. Y and E triple bond. Since we say octane, the last three letter words are the last three letters are A and E. So this is single bond. Only one like this. Double bond, two small line. Triple bond, three small line. Okay. This is according to the rule of covalent bonding of Mr. Lewis. He discovered this through Lewis dot structures of chemical bonding, that is covalent bonding. Because most of the hydrocarbon processes involves covalent bonding, specifically whether polar covalent bond or non-polar covalent bond. It is not a unique. You get the point? Something like that. Review that also, ha? Okay. Because carbon is not a pure metal. Okay? It can act both. Something like that. And then, hydrogen attached to the hydrocarbon is a gas. Okay? And then, a unique bonding have a metal and have also a non-metal. But this covalent will only do having two non-metals. Okay? Like that. Or, semi-metal plus another gas. But it will never be a pure metal to another gas. Like that. Okay? So there's no metal involved for covalent bonding. You get the point? Okay? Because element composed of metal and metal man siya. Okay? So I will never say element. Okay? You get the point? Okay. Ganon. So L-K-N-E. And I will give you also the formula of alkane family. But take note, guys, in organic chemistry, this alkane, alkene, and alkyne are all called alkyl functional group or groups, because there are three, plural in English, right? More than one is, add S in English. So, three alkyl groups. Chao, ganun ba yun? Alkyl groups. Okay, ganun. You get the point? Okay, alkyl. Ganon. Wala itong timanaan. Now, ang formula niya, guys, is CnH2n plus 2. And then for the double bond, CnH2n minus 2. And for the alkyne, CnH2n lang yun siya mga palangga. Okay. Now, let's review if our general formula is correct. Say we will try the most common alkyl group or the most simplest hydrocarbon. is the methane. Okay, methane or natural gas, CH4. Okay, this is the simplest. Okay, so it's very easy to say. When we say simplest, meaning have a very least or small atoms of carbon. It doesn't specify the hydrogen. It's the atom of the carbon. Our parent element for the hydrocarbon is the carbon, not the hydrogen. Hydrogen is our attachment. You know, attachment. But our parent element is the carbon, is in the center in our Lewis dot structure, covalent bonding. Ganon. Okay. Now, if you try the methane, so this is methane or natural gas, so our number of atoms of carbon is only 1. Let's prove this if it is correct. Maybe my memorization is failure. I need to correct first the general formula. So, I say ikin. Kung ano siya, methane. Okay, C1H2 times 1 plus 2. So, C1H2 plus 2, CH4. Ganon. So, CH4 is the alkane group of methane. Now, what is the double band if I have one carbon atom? So the double band will be C, okay, 1H2 times 1 minus 2. And this is C1H2 minus 2 is equals to 0. Di ba mga palangga? Okay. 2. You get the point, mga palangga. So there's 2 times 1. Okay, this is 2. Okay, and then 2. So this is 1 times 2 is equal to 2. 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Ano nakaloka ka ba? Oh no, C1H0. Okay, H0. You need to say, this is not really a double band because we found a non-existent formula. Okay, for this. So, this is a proof that CH4 will only exist as alkane family, not a double band. So how much more in a triple band? It will never exist. Okay, let's choose ang taas. Octane. Balik tayo na tayo lalayo sa octane. We try na to ang kuan. Triple band na CnH2n. Ang atong purpose is to come up with C8. So i-try na to ang ethane. Ang alkane group. So C8H2. I think it's C8H18 siya based on my memorization. Okay, so 8 plus 2, C8H6 is CH18, correct. C8H18 is the gasoline. Okay, like that. Now, muna na itong formula sa octane or sa gasoline. Now, if I will say octane, means a double band, E and E. And now we will use the same number of carbon atoms. Okay, using this formula. So, C8 H2, 8 minus 2. Ganon. So, C8. 16 minus 2 mga palangga. 16 minus 2, so H14. Muna siya ang octane. Ganon. Tama ba yun? Let's prove later, ha? Okay. See, i-prove na itong CH14 kung correct ba rin siya sa double band. Okay. So, we have carbon, 8 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we have hydrogen 14. I must prove this. Maybe my formula is wrong. Okay? You get the point? So, carbon 8 because 8 atoms of carbon. So, ang attachment sa hydrogen. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carbons. Correct. And there's a double band for this. Okay. So let's say we try the double band is here in the second carbon atom. Guys, the naming will start in the, in the right. Okay, because the naming in the right, okay, will determine the E and E, Y and E. But in naming on the other side, the left side, you will use the word omega. Okay, that's why we have omega fatty acids. Because that is unsaturated fatty acids. Meaning the counting is in the left. Something like, you got the point, mga palangga, ano siya nahitabo. Okay? So, for example, for the olive oil, okay, it has at least 18 atoms of carbon. Mga ganun ba? Okay? Like that. 18 atoms of carbon. And then, 36 atoms of hydrogen. Mga ganun siya. And then, different na siya sa iyang double band, ganun, whatever. Okay? Now, ari ko mag-count, there is a primero, Okay, so mabutang kong double band. Ganon. So, tararat, 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 tararat. Count the hydrogen. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's not. Okay, so this is only CnH2n. So we need to add another double band for this. Let's say, ay sa kaduha, katulo, o ganan. So, saan mo siya? Tagak na niya siya. Tagak ko. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So, mahimo na siyang C8H14, meaning there are 2 double bands in octene. Okay, so I could say 1 carbon atom, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I put the double band here. So we need to say, I will say 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 4 octene. Okay, because you put the double bonds in the carbon atom number 1 and carbon atom number 4. That is the naming, okay? You got the point? Oh, this is octene. Magdudugay lang kita. Loka. Okay ba? Ay, nako. Ako pa yung i-explain ng organic chemistry, uy. Ganun ba? Diba? So, okay, kung namungot ko ng acetylene guys, acetylene gas. Okay, you have acetylene, right? Diba? This is used in welding, gas welding. I need to discuss a little bit with acetylene gas, right? Okay, acetylene. I know based on my memorization that it is a formula of C2H2, as far as I could remember in my high school. Okay, C2H2, meaning there are 2 carbon atoms, and then H2, 2 hydrogen, and then 4 electrons in the outermost shell of the carbon. So, ganon. Ganon. So, i-share niya, so muna siyang triple band. Ganon. Triple band. Na ano na niya ang covalent bonding. So, meaning to say, acetylene gas, guys, follows non-polar covalent bonding. Non-polar meaning equal sharing of electrons, no excess electrons remain in your bonding. But if there's an excess electrons remain, that is polar covalent bonding. Okay, polar covalent bonding, just like water. Water has an excess electrons. Because oxygen has 6 electrons in the outermost shell. If you connect that with the 2 hydrogen, there's still remaining 4 electrons unpaired. Something like that. That's why water is highly polar. The more the element and compound is highly polar, the more it is conductive to electricity and heat. That's why most of the metals are conductive to electricity, because most of them are polar molecule. There's an unshared electrons remain during the covalent bonding. That's the reason, technically. Okay? No other. Okay? Due to the bonding, chemical bonding or polarity. Okay? So in here, guys, this is a non-polar covalent bond sharing equal of electrons. Okay, we know that. And this is the C2H2. Now, I have the formula CnH2n. Okay, guys, CnH2n in my triple bond. And I have this triple bond. I need to make this, if this is correct formula. Okay? I memorized already, but I need to make sure if it is a correct formula, CnH2n for the triple bond. Let's say for 2 carbons, 2, okay, H2 times 2 minus 2, C2H4 minus 2. The C2 is correct. CnH2n is the general formula for all triple bond, such as like acetylene gas. Okay? Acetylene. Okay? Acetylene also is confusing. Okay? So, wala na siya sa third triple bond ha, ang CnH2n. Ang double bond katong ay minus 2. Okay? Ako lang i-prove. Okay, guys. Now, acetylene. Put the word acetylene. Okay. Acetyl from the word acetyl. If you encounter the word acetyl, normally, the carbon atoms are 2. Okay? That's why acetyl. Because if you apply that also in the aldehyde functional group, let's say we have the carbon, aldehyde, right? This is the R, and this is the H. And this is an aldehyde group, right? Ganon. Aldehyde group. And we have the ketone, like that, ketone group. Ganon. Double bond oxygen, double bond oxygen. So this is the ketone group, and this is an aldehyde group. Okay? And we have also an alcohol group na OH diri. And we have also the functional group COOH for the carboxylic acid functional group. And we have also an amino group na NH2 attached ang mga chuba-chuchu. Okay? You got the point. And then we have also the R, CH, NH2. Okay? Okay, you got the point? This one is also, this is a protein. Okay, there's a band of amino group, alkyl group, and carbonyl group. Guys, if you speak about CH only, that is carbonyl group, if you try to band with other elements and compounds. But if you try to separate that as a solo flight, CH, that is normally called as a hydrocarbon or alkyl group. Okay, but if you try to combine na with other macromolecules, mahimo na siyang carbonyl group. So, because you use CH there in combining with amino, like this, and alkyl group. So we have carbonyl group, alkyl group, and amino group, and that is protein. Amino group is usually the fats, amino acids. Okay, you get the point? The building blocks of protein are amino acids. You get the point? There are 21 amino acids in our body. Without 21 amino acids in our body, we will also die. Because that is the building block of protein that gives us also nutrients, vitamins, and energy. Ganon. Okay. Now, go back to this. Okay. Ato nang papasok sa kasabot ta acetylene na siya. Okay. You got the point, guys? Now, maglibog ka no kay acetylene. Duha man ka spelling imong buhaton ni higay na. Acetylene na kani siya or acetylene na katong usa nga spelling. Acetylene nga ENE, right? Or YNE. Asa may correct na spelling ani ang ENE or YNE? Okay, this is an exemption. The acetylene gas is an exemption in the hydrocarbon rule because you said triple bond is YNE, right? Using the CN, H2N, okay, mo na siya ang formula. Now, your acetylene spelling in the dictionary or in science is ENE man ang katapusan mo ni siya. ACETYLENE. Meaning, supposedly, double bond lang ta siya because ENE and why it is triple bond. So, this is the exemption. Only acetylene of all hydrocarbons all over the world, only acetylene deviate the hydrocarbon rule. You get the point? Because the hydrocarbon rule for double bond is ENE in the word. But acetylene will not possess a double bond in the chemical reaction. It possesses a triple bonds in a covalent bonding. Then, it should be supposedly YNE. But why the spelling is ENE? So, it deviates. Exemption. Okay? Acetylene is the exemption of the hydrocarbon rule. Okay. Muna siya, maglibog ko sa winawas high school, maglibog ko may acetylene nga, ENE man, YNE man. Ako rin siya i-discover. Charot. Okay, muna siya nahitabo. Okay, sa acetylene. So, acetylene is a triple bond. The more you will increase your triple bond, the more it is highly flammable. Okay, you got the point? The bands would tell the flammability and the reactivity and the explosivity of any chemicals. Okay? You got the point? Wala siya. Okay? Wala siya natabok, guys. And now, we go to the octane. Kadawin sa tunabot sa octane. Okay? Gasoline. Mahal siya kung oras sa gasolin ay. Gutom na. Hoy! Napalapit yun na. Napalapit yun ka dyan. In fairness. Okay, CaH18 plus oxygen will produce carbon dioxide plus water. Ganon! La, dugay na kayo ko? Okay. Last 30 minutes. Charot. Okay, guys. Final round of discussion. Octane combustion reaction. Only here live at I Am a Singer, Eternal Voice. Okay. So hydrocarbon octane gasoline plus oxygen gas is equals to carbon dioxide plus water. This is a reversible chemical reaction because it will never go back to its original form. Okay? You got the point? Dito na siya, irreversible na siya. So if it is a reversible reaction, that is spontaneous chemical reaction. So our Gibbs free energy is negative value. Okay, for example, 232 kilojoules, negative ang value. Since we have a negative G, Gibbs free energy, so our enthalpy also, content is negative. Okay, now, negative signs of both Gibbs free energy and enthalpy are releasing heat to the surrounding, meaning to say exothermic reaction. So all combustion chemical reactions, particularly the complete combustion, okay, that is really an exothermic reaction. Okay, so this is like that, a negative delta G, a reversible reaction meaning spontaneous. Okay, ganon. Okay, like that. Okay, ano pa yun? Pag inumdum guys, spontaneous, negative delta G, kalas. Okay, ganon lang. Okay, ano po ganon naglain? Spontaneous, negative ang iyang Gibbs free energy or delta G, ganon lang mo timanan. And then, since G is directly proportional with enthalpy, the negative sa din mo enthalpy. Okay, then how about the entropy? I'm talking for the physical chemistry already, ha? Not the organic chemistry and not the general chemistry. Physical chemistry, but we don't touch physical chemistry, right? Okay, so we'll go back to the original chemistry or the general chemistry. Okay, so I have here, balance this chemical equation, guys, not on the trial and error method. Use algebraic way of solving the balance equation. Now we have the carbon in the right, 8, and we have the carbon in the right means 1. There's a deficient of 7 carbon atoms in the reactant. Now we let X as the number of atoms of carbon in the carbon dioxide to equal to the carbon atoms in the reactant. So X, let X, ganon. So algebra. Okay, 8 times 1, meaning to say subscript times number of moles of the gasoline, carbon, 1. Equilibrium, meaning equal, so equal signs, equals to, carbon in the carbon dioxide has no subscript, that means 1 times X. Therefore, 8 is just equals to X. So erase the X and put the 8 beside the carbon in carbon dioxide. That's the first balance. Okay, second balance, mga palangga. Okay, we need to balance either hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so whatever you balance first, it's still okay in algebraic. But in trial and error method, it's gonna be the last, I think, the hydrogen, because it will never be balanced because it will be adjusted the oxygen later, something like that. In algebraic, no worry. You can go first with hydrogen. You can go first also with the oxygen. This is the advantage of mathematical balancing equation of the chemical reaction. Okay. Second, I say hydrogen. Oh, ganon. There are 18 atoms of hydrogen in the reactant from gasoline. And we have also 2 atoms lang siya in hydrogen of water because there's no hydrogen in carbon dioxide, common sense. Okay, so 2 times 1 subscript is the coefficient of hydrogen gas in water. So this is 2. So there are 16 atoms of hydrogen deficient. To compensate that, we need X as the unknown atoms of hydrogen in water because that is deficient there. You have only to put the unknown atoms, X, in the deficient side, not on the higher side of atoms. Okay? So put X beside H in the water molecule. Now, algebra, linear algebraic expression. So 18 equal, because it's equilibrium, okay, to x times 2 for hydrogen, 2x. So for the value of x is equals to 80 divided by 2, 9. 9. Put 9 beside hydrogen. Ganon. As you can notice, 9 and 8 atoms are very large. We cannot do that in the trial and error method. But then there will be a fractional, atoms later on. So problem. Okay? You got the point? Ganon. So, balance hydrogen. Hydrogen 18, hydrogen 8 is on the left. Now we go to the last, which is the oxygen. Okay. Oxygen in the reactant, 2 times 1. So 2. Okay. And then the product, oxygen from carbon dioxide, 2 times 8, 16. Plus oxygen 9 equals to 25. There are 25 atoms of oxygen in the product, whereas in the reactant is only 2. We have deficient of 23 atoms of oxygen in the reactant. Large. How can I compensate this? Compensate meaning to equalize. Okay, that's the term in English, compensate. Okay, to equalize or to make it equal, something like that. Okay, so we have to put X, the number of atoms in oxygen gas, in our reactant. So put X beside oxygen. Now, math. 2 times X is equals to 2X. Equilibrium equal to 16 plus is 25 on the products, 25. I already said 25, right? Now, muna na siya natabo. So solve for the value of X, algebra. Okay, divide both sides by 2. Right? So 25 over 2. Nakakaloka. Diba? 25 over 2 is a fractional coefficient or number of moles. How can we do that? There's a fractional form. Okay. Put the 25 over 2, kaloka. Okay, in the x here. So 25 over 2 as the coefficient, coefficient, not co-o. Okay, efficient na ang term, efficient. So, coefficient, not co-o. Okay, ganon. So, put the 25 over 2 besides oxygen gas. Now, what will happen if you have like this? Okay, so 25 over 2, that divided by 2, no? So, in this case, we apply math again. Math. Okay, multiply both sides with the denominator so that the fractional form will be converted into figure only. Okay, not fraction. So multiply both sides. Guys, take note, if you multiply, both sides must be multiplied, not only the other side. Okay, multiply by 2 because we need to cancel the 2 in the denominator so that it will become a figure of the coefficient beside oxygen gas. So 2, ganon. So 2 times gasoline is equal to 2 moles of gasoline. Okay. Can you shock me upon this gas? These are all taking place inside your internal combustion engine in your car, in your hood. You cannot see it, but this is really happening every day you start your car. Okay? So 2 moles of gasoline plus 25 moles of oxygen gas. This is the chemical energy we're trying to emphasize. Okay? 25 moles of oxygen gas equal to 16 moles. I-times rin mo sa tagsa. 8 times 2, 16 CO2 plus 18 moles of water. Now, tag-as kayo siya of number of moles. Right? Now, balance again. Go back. Okay, carbon 16. O, diba? Hydrogen is 36. 18 times 2, guys, makapatid. O, 36. Here, hydrogen is also 36. Oxygen, I have 25 in the reactant. 25 times 2 is 50. And oxygen on the other side will be 2 times 16, 32. 32 plus 18, pila mo na siya, guys? 50, perfectly balanced. See, as I told you, gasoline combustion reaction have huge number of moles and number of atoms. Okay? Imagine, you need 25 moles of oxygen to run your car. 25 moles of oxygen. How many liters of gasoline is that? And you can compute that also. Okay, by having the formula density mass over volume or molar mass computation or percentage by mass or percentage by volume. You can compute that. How many liters you need to run your car by this chemical reaction only. You got the point? But if you put 2 liters like this, and there's a 25 moles here, solve. You can compute it. It needs it needs fuel, 24 liters of fuel or whatever, so that my car will run. Okay, something like that. But nobody will do that. The purpose only is to understand that's gonna be the process. Okay, inside your car. Okay, ganon. You got the point? Mana siya. So, our chemical equilibrium, kung itudlo ninyo, itong i-derive, is equals the concentration of the product. Ang product na ito, darano, carbon dioxide and water. So, you will say, concentration of CO2, okay, raised to the power 16. Nakakaloka. 16. Imagine ang carbon dioxide concentration, raised siya into 16 times in the gasoline chemical reaction inside your car. Okay? If you start your car going from here and going to Riyadh City, something like that. Okay? Now we have water. Concentration of water raised to the power 18. You have also water because you have the coolant. You put coolant right in your hood. That will be the water there. Okay? In your radiator. Okay? That's the coolant or the water. So, mo ni siya ganyan lang. Ang water po, times 18 yung moles para mag-create siya og nakakaloka. Okay? Then over oxygen raised to the power 25. Oh my gosh! There are 25 moles of oxygen. So, erase mo sa 25 ang oxygen gas. Okay? Imagine. And then gasoline raised to the power 2. Arang-arang na lang kaya ang gasoline raised to the power 2 lang siya. Because this is the fuel. Right? It makes sense. Because if you raise the gasoline to how many times then? Fire will come. That's why it's only raised to the power 2. Diba? It will be explained best in the theory. So the others are having a higher exponent because it needs the process to operate by having that strong energy, by having that number of moles to convert chemical energy to mechanical energy. But this gasoline is not taking too much number of moles because that is fuel. Okay, or else it will make the hood burning because of the heat. Because this is exothermic, there will be a release of heat in your combustion engine. As I told you, exothermic, releasing of heat. Okay, reaction. Because negative enthalpy content, heat content, or negative gives free energy. Okay, ganon. So, ano na ito equilibrium constant mga pangka? So, chemical equilibrium constant of the gasoline in a combustion process will be equal to the concentration of carbon dioxide raised to the power 16 times the concentration of water raised to the power 18 over the concentration of oxygen gas raised to the power 25 times gasoline raised to the power 2. Okay, ganon. Now, if you have concentration each of carbon dioxide, water, oxygen, and the gasoline, then you can solve for the equilibrium constant. O, diba? Medical, hoy, pila man ako equilibrium constant ani. Okay. Mag-drive kasi imong car. You will drive your car and you will say, what is equilibrium constant in my driving? So you can compute by having this. Okay? Like this. But nobody will try to compute this because this is highly theoretical because it refers to concentration. Okay? But if in terms of physics, motion, maaari pa. Motion, the velocity or the speed covered by the car. So it's very easy, right? Compared to the concentration. So how can I compute the carbon dioxide concentration? Okay, how can I know that? Okay, something like that. You get the point? And then the velocity is very easy. Velocity, distance covered over the time. If the distance is 80 km from here to Riyadh, I will put 80 km. And then the time I will go there, let's say I will have a time of 1.5 hour when I reach the city. So 1.5 hour. So 80 divided by 1.5, that will be your kph velocity or speed pa. Speed of your car covered. But if you mean velocity, so what is your direction? In going that is north, south, east, west. Okay, that is velocity. The same unit. There's a direction involved. Okay, so vector quantity is the velocity, scalar quantity is the speed. So it depends on how you use that in a sentence. So we need to say this is now called physics grammar or science grammar. We have English grammar, we have also physics grammar, chemistry grammar, physics grammar. You get the point? Because you will never say, oh, the velocity of my car is 2 meters and you did not even mention the direction on your destination. Okay? You will be going there, forward, backward, reverse, or turning into the roundabout. That is velocity. But if you're referring only to the distance covered, no problem, no issue. Okay, no direction. You get the point? Like that. But normally, people will just refer to the speed because that is magnitude only. Because when we have the magnitude, we can adjust our speeding, not necessarily knowing our direction, right? Because we are going now to our direction. But what I'm trying to emphasize, when we mean the differentiation, the difference between the velocity and the speed, that's only my point. Okay? But for practical purposes, we don't have to say anytime the direction, what area we are going to, right? Because it's common sense. We're going there, of course, it's north, it's east, it's south, no need to put that direction. Okay? That's why speed, the magnitude will be okay. The magnitude meaning the value. Okay? The value and the unit, not necessarily the direction. Okay? Like that. For example, if I have a force of 80 Newton. So this is a scalar. If I have to push downward, that is now vector because that is the direction. You push that object downward. Okay? By applying a force of 80 Newton. Things like that, okay? You get the point? You should know that in physics because physics is a branch of science that deals with the study of matter and energy. And matter is being explained well in chemistry because chemistry is a branch of science that deals with the study of matter and the changes it undergoes, whether it is a physical change or a chemical change or a chemical reaction involved. Okay? So normally the alteration or changes of the composition of the substance from solid to liquid, liquid to solid, to whatever. Okay, that's chemistry all about. But the word matter is the common denominator of physics and chemistry. That's why you need to learn more chemistry before taking up physics. Get the point? Okay, thank you so much for watching this vlogging. You can comment, you can like, you can share if you want, and subscribe to the channel. Okay? And click notification bell for some years after the Unseen Your Channel Voice. Bye-bye. God bless everybody. Okay. Babush. Nakakaloka. Diba? Ay, nako.